You've spent decades dreaming about retirement. You've saved diligently, planned your finances, and finally reached that magical age where you can step away from the daily grind. You have enough money to live comfortably. Your health is decent. Yet within months, you feel utterly lost, purposeless, and more miserable than you ever were during your working years. This isn't hypothetical. This is the reality for 7 out of 10 retirees across Europe and beyond. And it's a crisis that financial advisors rarely address until it's too late. We're constantly warned about financial aspects of retirement. Will your pension be enough? What about inflation? Can healthcare systems support aging populations? These are legitimate concerns, but they're drowning out a far more insidious threat that creeps up silently. Research consistently demonstrates that this overlooked danger impacts approximately 70% of people within their first 3 years of retirement, with consequences that ripple through every aspect of their lives. The truth behind the numbers. The mistake isn't about money, at least not directly. It's about identity, purpose, and the fundamental human need for meaning. After spending 40 or more years defining yourself through your profession, colleagues' daily routines, and workplace achievements, retirement strips away these defining elements overnight. You're no longer the department manager, skilled tradesperson, dedicated teacher, or respected professional. Suddenly, you're just retired. And for most people, that transition feels less like freedom and more like falling into an abyss. European studies tracking retirees through their first 5 years revealed disturbing patterns. Within the first year, approximately 40% report feeling significant loss of purpose. By year 3, this climbs to 70%. These individuals describe feelings of worthlessness, boredom, anxiety, and a pervasive sense that their best years are behind them. They wake up with nowhere to go, nothing urgent to accomplish, and no one depending on their expertise. The freedom they fantasized about suddenly feels like a prison sentence. This isn't merely emotional or psychological. The identity crisis manifests in measurable ways, impacting every area of life. Retirees experiencing this crisis visit doctors more frequently, reporting unexplained aches and persistent fatigue. Their spending becomes erratic as they desperately try to fill the void with purchases, providing temporary distraction but no lasting fulfillment. Relationships suffer as partners struggle to navigate new dynamics and increased time together. When financial security isn't enough. Consider James, a 60-year-old former logistics manager from Manchester. After 42 years in transport, he retired with a comfortable pension of £3,000 monthly, a paid-off home, and no debt. By conventional metrics, James had won at retirement. Yet 6 months later, James found himself utterly miserable. He slept poorly, snapped at his wife over trivial matters, and spent hours aimlessly browsing the internet. His days blurred together into indistinguishable empty time. What went wrong? James had meticulously planned every financial detail, but given virtually no thought to what would fill his days or provide meaning beyond the paycheck. His identity had been so thoroughly intertwined with his professional role that retirement felt like erasure rather than liberation. He missed the problem-solving, team interactions, and sense of being needed. Without these elements, his comfortable financial situation felt hollow and pointless. The hidden financial costs. While this crisis centers on identity rather than money, it inevitably creates substantial financial consequences. Retirees, struggling with purpose, often engage in expensive, impulsive decisions as they desperately search for meaning. They might purchase expensive recreational vehicles, invest in unprepared-for-business ventures, or dramatically increase travel spending, hoping the next destination will satisfy their restless emptiness. These expenditures rarely address the underlying issue but quickly deplete retirement savings. Healthcare costs escalate as well. Stress and depression associated with identity loss manifest in physical symptoms, driving repeated doctor visits, specialist consultations, and medications. Research indicates retirees experiencing significant purpose deficits spend approximately 30 to 40% more on healthcare during their first 5 retirement years. Some turn to alcohol or substances to numb discomfort, creating additional complications. Others develop psychosomatic conditions, expensive to investigate despite having no clear organic cause. 7 warning signs. Recognizing this crisis early dramatically improves avoidance chances. First, you frequently say you're bored, despite having ample free time and resources. Second, increasingly poor sleep patterns that don't correlate with physical health issues emerge. Third, irritability and mood swings become frequent, particularly over minor inconveniences. Fourth, You struggle to answer what you did today, or what you're looking forward to tomorrow. Fifth, you feel increasingly isolated, despite having more available time for social connections. Sixth, you experience physical symptoms without clear medical explanations. Finally, seventh, you dwell excessively on the past, constantly reminiscing about working years and comparing everything unfavorably to how things used to be. A story of early recognition. Patricia's experience illustrates the power of early recognition. At 65, this former human resources director from Amsterdam retired with excellent financial preparation. Within 4 months, however, she felt inexplicably anxious most mornings, struggled to maintain interest in anticipated hobbies, and compulsively checked her former company's social media. Rather than dismissing these feelings, Patricia recognized them as symptoms of identity crisis. She took immediate action by working with a retirement coach. Together, they identified that Patricia's sense of worth had been tied to being needed, solving problems, and mentoring others. Her solution involved becoming a volunteer mentor for young professionals, joining a non-profit board focused on employment issues, and starting a blog sharing workplace wisdom. These activities didn't pay significantly, but they reconnected her with elements of work that had provided meaning. Within 6 months, Patricia reported feeling more fulfilled and energized than during her final working years. Her early recognition prevented years of suffering and typical financial costs. Building a sustainable solution successfully navigating this crisis requires a 3-part approach most financial planning ignores. First, actively rebuild purpose by identifying what gave you meaning during working years beyond the paycheck. Was it problem solving, creativity, social connection, competition, learning, or teaching? Create new channels for these fundamental needs through volunteering, part-time consulting, mentoring, creative projects, or community involvement. Second, establish structure, even though retirement frees you from schedules. Human beings thrive on structure and routine. Successful retirees create their own through regular commitments, scheduled activities, and routines providing rhythm to their weeks. This might include regular volunteer shifts, scheduled exercise classes, standing social engagements, or simple routines like morning walks. Third, consciously develop a new identity that incorporates but extends beyond your professional self. This requires active exploration, rather than passive hoping. Try different activities, join various groups, take classes in unfamiliar subjects, and give yourself permission to be a beginner again. Why traditional planning falls short. Financial advisors focus almost exclusively on numbers, pension amounts, investment returns, withdrawal rates, and tax strategies. These elements matter enormously, but they address only one dimension. Life planning examines questions spreadsheets can't answer. What will give you a reason to get out of bed? How will you maintain social connections? What will provide mental stimulation? Who will you be when you're no longer defined by your profession? The research is unambiguous. Retirees with strong sense of purpose report significantly higher life satisfaction, regardless of financial circumstances, while those with ample money but no purpose report depression rates rivaling genuine poverty. Money creates options and security, but purpose creates fulfillment. A complete recovery. David's story demonstrates that even those deep into this crisis can recover. At 72, this retired engineer from Lyon had spent 6 years in miserable retirement, despite financial comfort. He'd gained 20 kilograms, developed high blood pressure, and strained his marriage. A health scare finally motivated honest examination. His recovery involved 3 major shifts. First, he volunteered with an organization helping disadvantaged students develop interest in engineering. Second, he joined a hiking group, meeting twice weekly, providing structure, social connection, and physical activity. Third, he started a small consulting practice, working roughly 10 hours weekly. 18 months later, David had lost the excess weight, normalized his blood pressure without medication, dramatically improved his marriage, and reported genuine happiness. His financial situation remained essentially unchanged, but his quality of life had transformed completely. Your pre-retirement action plan prevention begins before you actually retire. Start by honestly examining what aspects of work provide meaning, identity, and satisfaction beyond income. Make a comprehensive list going deeper than surface answers. Next, begin experimenting with potential retirement activities while still working. Volunteer 1 evening monthly. Take a class unrelated to your profession. Join a club focused on neglected interests. These experiments help discover what truly engages you and begin building needed social connections and structures. Develop a detailed vision of your ideal retirement week, beyond vacation fantasies. What time will you wake? What will you do each morning? What regular commitments will you maintain? This vision should include specific activities, not vague concepts. Create a transition timeline, rather than sudden complete stop. Many employers offer phased retirement, reduced hours, or consulting arrangements. This approach dramatically reduces identity loss shock and provides time to develop alternative meaning sources. Finally, discuss these issues openly with your partner if you have one. Retirement affects both individuals in a relationship. Partners who've maintained separate work identities suddenly face constant proximity and need to negotiate shared space. Addressing differences before retirement allows developing plans that honor both people's needs. The long-term stakes. The connection between purpose, health, and longevity has been documented extensively. Retirees who maintain strong sense of purpose demonstrate significantly lower rates of cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, and mortality. Some researchers argue purpose provides health benefits equivalent to not smoking. Conversely, retirement without purpose correlates with accelerated aging and shorter lifespan. This invisible retirement crisis deserves the same serious attention we devote to financial preparation. Your future self will thank you for taking these warnings seriously. Experimenting now, and building foundation for a retirement defined not by what you're leaving behind, but by what you're moving toward with intention, purpose, and clear understanding of what actually creates human fulfillment.